This is our house now, isn't it? My sister-in-law shouted, her face turning red. Are you sure you want the house?
Yeah, it's ours now. Right, Mom?
Yeah? It should belong to us, of course. What's with the nonsense, Amy? Well then, I hope you can afford it. Afford what? I mean, the entire mortgage. Make sure to pay that off, okay? With a smile, I threw those words at my in-laws. The three of them looked stunned and speechless in front of me. I can already see what's gonna come to them next. A great downfall. My name is Amy, a 36-year-old editor. It has been 5 years since I married Curtis. Curtis and I were classmates in college, but we didn't date back then. However, we started meeting again after reuniting at a friend's wedding. Up until then, he was just a friendly male friend to me. But when we met again, Curtis had become a cool and experienced working professional. He was gentle and thoughtful, and looked way more mature than other guys around me. I was rapidly drawn to him. He also seemed to grow interest in me, and it didn't take long until we officially started dating. Our relationship progressed smoothly, and a few years later, we decided to get married. When we announced our marriage, everyone around us was surprised, and they never expected me to be dating Curtis. Life after marriage was incredibly enjoyable and blissful. We had many shared hobbies, especially outdoor activities that we enjoyed together. However, just recently, after 3 years of marriage, a certain problem arose.
What?
Dad had an accident? We received a call informing us that my father-in-law had been involved in an accident and was rushed to the hospital. My husband and I immediately rushed to the hospital.
Dad, are you okay? Sorry for worrying you. I hurt my leg badly. And it has reached a point where I need caregiving.
My father-in-law was about to retire, but ended up in such a situation. We felt so sorry for him. And here came the main issue. My mother-in-law begged us to live with them in their family home and take care of my father-in-law.
Curtis, please. It's difficult for me to take care of your father and manage the household all by myself. Mom.
It wasn't a decision that could be made easily. My husband said to discuss it with me and put it on hold. So, when we returned home, we had multiple discussions. Both my husband and I loved my father-in-law dearly. He was the kind of person who makes us feel incredibly happy just by being around him. I thought my husband resembled his father. On the other hand, my mother-in-law had some peculiarities. She could be extremely kind to people she liked, but quite cold towards others. That's why I worried that I might have some unpleasant experiences with my mother-in-law. My husband had some concerns about that as well.
Mom had some strong discriminatory tendencies. But it's true that she can't take care of Dad and manage the house all by herself. After much deliberation, we decided to move to my in-laws' house. Really? Thank you. It's a great relief. I'm really sorry for burdening you, son.
No, Dad.
I want both you and Mom to be comfortable.
Both of my in-laws seemed genuinely happy about it. Shortly after, we moved into my in-laws' house. However, as expected, a problem arose. It was an astonishing behavior from my mother-in-law. Not only did she ask us to take care of her husband, but she also burdened us with all the household chores. She would go out for tea with her friends or attend our hobbies while leaving everything to us. Honestly, I was exasperated by my mother-in-law's actions, but I couldn't let my father-in-law suffer. My husband and I worked together, taking care of my father-in-law's needs and managing the household. and we even renovated the house to make it more comfortable for my father-in-law. The house feels like brand new. It's so comfortable. My mother-in-law was extremely proud, even though she hadn't contributed much. Since my father-in-law usually relied on a wheelchair,
I can move around so easily now. I'm truly grateful.
just seeing my father-in-law's smile made my husband and me feel that the renovation was worth it. After that, we continued with our daily routines. Then, one day, my father-in-law said something to us.
Thank you both so much for everything. Isn't Amy's birthday coming up soon? As a thank you, I ordered something nice online. Hope you like it.
Huh? Really? You didn't need to. But thank you. With a smile, my father-in-law said that, and I was excited and looking forward to it. A few days later, a package arrived addressed to me. To my surprise, it was a high-end handbag.
You are always there for me. And also take care of all the household matters, Amy. And on top of that, the renovation. I can't thank you enough. So, please accept my appreciation. No need to hesitate.
Thank you so much. I'll take good care of it for sure.
Hey, Dad. If you give such nice things, I'll become relevant.
My husband said that while scratching his head and laughing. My father-in-law and I laughed at him in that way. But this gift changed the situation even worse with my mother-in-law.
Amy, aren't you seducing my husband, are you?
My mother-in-law suddenly made such remarks. Huh? What are you talking about? That's crazy.
So you say. You have a cunning side to you. Aren't you deceiving Curtis and trying to manipulate my husband to destroy this family?
What? What on earth are you talking about?
I'm saying that you were after the assets of this house or my husband's inheritance.
Why? Why would you say something so terrible? That's disrespectful to your husband too. Please, stop it. You are annoying.
If you get too carried away, I'll kick you out.
My mother-in-law's anger was unreasonable. She must have been jealous seeing me being treated well. But I didn't want to be lectured by someone who doesn't do anything around the house and relies on my father-in-law's retirement savings and pension to live. When I told my husband about my conversation with her, he was exasperated.
Jesus. If she says something again, let me know right away, okay?
Okay, thank you, honey. I was grateful that my husband supported me. However, from that point on, my mother-in-law started bullying me even harder.
You know, I lose my appetite when the food is this bad.
Amy, you should improve your cooking skills more. My mother-in-law continued to insult me in such a way.
Hey, Mom, cut it out. Her cooking is perfectly fine. That's right. I like Amy's cooking. Your cooking was always too salty, you know.
What? You were all so terrible, blaming me like this. I guess no one's on my side. How terrible. My mother-in-law started crying while pretending to be hurt. But we continued our meal without paying much attention to her. Having my husband and father-in-law on my side was a great source of strength for me. So I didn't let myself to be intimidated by her. Thanks to that, she gradually became more subdued. For a while, our life together was peaceful. However, after about a year had passed, my father-in-law suddenly fell ill and was put to the hospital. My husband and I were worried, visiting him every day. Unfortunately, my father-in-law's condition worsened day by day. My mother-in-law didn't bother coming to visit, claiming it was too troublesome. And then she made a surprising statement.
From today, I'll be living with Evan.
Evan is my husband's older brother. He's married and lives with his spouse. According to my husband, my mother-in-law dotes on him. Evan has graduated from top-tier university, and that's why she treats him better than my husband. When I told them about the mistreatment I've received here, they told me to live with them. So, I'm saying goodbye to you all. My mother-in-law packed her belongings with a triumphant expression. But for us, it was more like, please feel free to leave. With my mother-in-law gone, my husband and I found life easier. From the beginning, she didn't do any housework or care for my father-in-law, and the burden was reserved when she was gone. Plus, my mother-in-law used to do a lot of unnecessary shopping and going out a lot, so even her expenses have decreased. And the most important thing is that the atmosphere in the house has become more cheerful. Not only because there was no harassing towards me, but even without that, most of the words out of her mouth were negative. So when that stopped, I felt as if the atmosphere became lighter all at once. My husband and father-in-law seemed to feel the change as well. And so, we spent peaceful days together as a family for a while. Looking back now, I think those few months were the happiest time for our family. However, my father-in-law's health deteriorated day by day, and he became weaker. My husband contacted my mother-in-law and my brother-in-law's family, but they never came to visit even once. My father-in-law always treated his sons equally. My mother-in-law and brother-in-law didn't like it, and their relationship fell into something unpleasant. My brother-in-law's wife, too, had a prideful and arrogant nature. In that regard, she resembled my mother-in-law. A few months passed, and my father-in-law passed away. I was glad to be present during his final moments and exchange words with him. Many people attended to the funeral, which showed the high regard people had for my father-in-law. I felt proud to have such a great person as my father-in-law. My mother-in-law and my brother-in-law's family also attended the funeral, but all three of them seemed bored and didn't help with the arrangement or preparations at all. And as soon as the funeral was over, they immediately left. They were unbelievable. However, about 2 months later, they surprised us again by suddenly showing up at our house. "Why are you here?" all of a sudden. They're staring at us with menacing looks. "When are you going to leave this house?" My mother-in-law said that. "Huh? What do you mean?" My husband asked, confused. Then, my brother-in-law sighed. I've always thought you were an idiot, but I didn't realize you were this incapable of understanding things." And my sister-in-law chimed in. "That's right. This house belongs to us. Hurry up and leave. We're the ones who should be living here." At that moment, we understood. They had a major misunderstanding. Is that so? Then please make sure to pay off the entire mortgage for this house, you know? What? Mortgage? My in-laws looked surprised at my statement. Did you forget that we fully renovated this house? Did you think it was all free or something? Well, then my husband finished paying for that cost. Mom, you really know nothing. Amy has been covering most of these expenses. What? That's why when we took out the loan, we put the house in Amy's name. Oh, wait a minute. The house is in Amy's name? Yeah. Dad also agreed that it was a good decision. So this house will never end up in your hands. Got it?
Wait, what is this? We agreed to live with you because you said we could live in this spacious house for free.
That was, Evan, you do something about this.
Huh? What are you talking about?
If I can't have this house,
Then I won't live with you either.
Evan, how dare you speak to your mother that way? They completely turned against each other, hurling insults back and forth. Could you take your fight somewhere else?
Or do you want to stay here and wait for the police to be called?"
Once the word police was mentioned, they immediately panicked and hastily left. Afterwards, it seems that my mother-in-law was kicked out of my brother-in-law's house. She came to us seeking help, but of course, we turned her away. By the way, my brother-in-law Evan, despite his educational background, couldn't succeed in his career due to his unpleasant personality. As a result, his salary didn't increase, and their life was never easy. My sister-in-law got tired of him and had an affair. They were currently going through a messy divorce. As for my mother-in-law, she's living alone in a rundown apartment. We received multiple calls from her, but we expect another surprise visit, so my husband and I sold our house and moved. Thanks to the renovations, we were able to sell the house for a higher price than expected. Currently, we happily live in a luxury condo, enjoying our days together as a couple. I still think of my father-in-law often. His character has been passed down to my husband, and it truly is a blessing. The bag I received from my father-in-law is a treasure for me throughout my life. I learned that if we live sincerely, fate will turn around, and someone will help us somewhere, someday. That's how I believe. For now, I won't extend a helping hand to my mother-in-law. However, as time passes, and if her sincerity can be felt, I definitely want to repair the relationship. In the corner of my mind, I wait for her to become that person. Regardless, I want to continue living happily with my husband, overcoming various challenges that may come our way.